Good evening. Welcome to another edition of 60 Minutes in Black America. My name is Mike Haynie. We've got an outstanding show for you tonight. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good evening. My name is Mike Haynie again, and welcome back to 60 Minutes in Black America. 2 years ago, when we started 60 Minutes in Black America, we told you that the premise for doing so was to bridge gaps in communications for Black communities around this country, be it in Memphis, Birmingham, Detroit, Chicago, Oakland, Miami, New York, that we needed a medium as a people to carry the word consistently in our community. The inspiration for 60 Minutes in Black America came from the founder of BlackUSA.News, Doni Glover, who's here with us tonight, the first time on 60 Minutes in Black America, to hear his life, his story, and what he wants his legacy to be. Doni is an outstanding human being who has worked tirelessly over 2 decades, because this year we're celebrating for Be More News 20 years. 20 years in existence of any business is outstanding, particularly when you're a media company. And I describe Doni as a media mogul. When you look at DM Global, you look at BlackUSA.News, you look at what he does in New York, carrying Black Wall Street, Atlanta, and a multitude of other places. The tireless effort that this man makes to ensure that the communications for Black people is one in which we can do comparative wherever we are. And there's not too many, when you look at media companies in our community. You may have in one-off Afro Baltimore, Afro Cleveland, Ohio, Oakland Times, but where do we get the significance of someone that understands that, be it on the West Coast, be it on the East Coast, be it in the South, be it in the North, that we need a platform in which we all can hear similarly and compare similarly ideas, celebrate successes, recognize our people. And this is what Doni has tried to achieve. And I urge you tonight to listen closely as Doni talks about his stories, because that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to share Doni's story, who Doni is, so that you get to know him, and hopefully at the end of the day support him. And then the second half of the show, we're going to talk about where Doni has gone in this world to bring stories of significance to our people in this country. All over the world he's traveled to do that. And so tonight I have one of our guest hosts. We have a couple of great hosts tonight. Jasmine Pollock, who you'll hear again in a couple of weeks, and Kat Evans, who you'll hear from tonight, is going to help with the interview of Doni and talking about Doni's life and his family, because we know in our community that's important. That's what establishes us as who we are. And then the second half, Doni and I will take a look at some of the things he's done over the course of his professional career in journalism, and some compelling clips of some of the more significant interviews he has done. We'll share some laughs, we'll share some tears, but ultimately, this is Doni's due, at least one of them, because you don't find people like Doni Glover or Donald Morton Glover that gives of himself as he has given of himself for us to bring what has brought to us, and the sacrifices he has made to do so. So let's bring Kat Evans into the stream. Hey, Kat, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Mike?
Fantastic. Are you ready for the Donald? This is the real Donald. They talk about Donald Trump, but he has nothing over our Donald, the Donald that, we have for our country, in our communities, Donald Morton Glover. So you had a great show last week on 60 Minutes in Black America. And our show is a tribute to Donald.
Absolutely.
You brought breast cancer, you brought domestic violence awareness to the people, and it didn't make a difference where people were in this country. As a result of this media platform, they were able to hear a consistent message.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And so let's bring Doni into the stream. Doni, how you doing, man?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey.
Hi, Doni.
Hi, Kat.
Doni, I got to tell you, man, it is absolutely an honor to have you on the show. Well, it wouldn't be a show without you. It would not be a 60 Minutes in Black America. It wouldn't be a BlackUSA.news. And so, tonight, man, we want the people to get to know you, to know who you are. And so, Kat and you are gonna chat and talk about your life, and then after a period of time, we'll come back and we're gonna get into it, man, and kind of understand how you came up with this media mogul monster, that's nationwide. So you and Kat go at it, man. Have a good interview. I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Hey, Doni. So how are you doing today?
You see this face here? This is the face of somebody that's walking into a setup.
You are not walking to a setup, honey.
It's like walking into Cherry Hill and you ain't got no backup. You only know one way out.
Well, guess what? I'm your backup. How's that?
Okay. But Cherry Hill only got one way out. I need somebody down there at the switch. Let me out.
So first of all, I just want to say congratulations to you. Well deserved of 20 years for Be More News. That is just amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what I want to do, I just want to go down memory lane, history lane with you, and just talk about your life growing up, so we can find out who you are and where you come from. Where your ancestors, your parents, and stuff. So you can see that little clip. You're a handsome young man right there, Doni. I don't care what nobody say. Very sharp. I love that. Look at that hat. You looking smooth already at a young age.
That's in front of my dad's first funeral home, 1701 North Patterson Park in Lanville, East Baltimore.
Wow. So Doni, actually, where were you born?
Providence Hospital on Division Street.
Mm-hmm.
But my first memories, now my mom was a homeowner on Moreland Avenue.
Uh-huh.
But by the time I was born, we had moved to my dad's first spot right here, Patterson Park in Lanville.
Wow. So mentioning your mom.
I claim both, East and West.
So you claim both East and West. So that's a good thing. So you have no favorites. So that's good. So speaking of your parents, who were your parents and their background?
My father was Donald Edward Glover. That's my great granddad. That's
your great grandfather. Okay, so you're a Navy guy.
Yes, on my mother's side. His name is Joaquin Calderon. He's from Santurce in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Barriqua. So, according to my research, I think he was killed in World War II around 1944.
Wow.
I really don't know all of the details. I would love to meet my Calderon cousins in Santurce, but that's what I know of my mom's dad.
Your mom. Okay.
My mother was Lillie Juanita. She was born here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
She was a trained nurse. She was also a trained seamstress. She was one of the first homeowners on Moreland Avenue in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
At a time when Moreland Avenue was very white. I've never seen that. I've only seen it black. My dad she was from Argyle Avenue, 1000 block. He was from Shields Place, down where a lot of locals know Murphy Homes. in that vicinity. He was a funeral director, mortician, and I thank God that they came together to have me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said your mom was a seamstress. So was that like her own business? She did seamstress for the neighborhood, or was she working for a particular company being a seamstress?
Company, Comer and Wasserman. As a matter of fact, her company built the daycare center that I graduated from on North Avenue. So just as you're crossing right around in between North and Mount Royal and North and Park Avenue, there the daycare center is still there today. Actually, it's closed now, but I was in the first graduating class. So you're talking about 1971. I actually remember being interviewed before being accepted into the school, the daycare center.
Wow. So you had to go through an interview process to get into daycare.
I remember the lady coming to my house. I believe it was a lady. And I remember my parents right there in the funeral chapel, not in the with a body display, but in the chapel. I remember being interviewed. I'll never forget it.
Wow. So your mom was a seamstress. So your dad was a mortician.
Funeral director and mortician. And so together they own the funeral home. And so I got to say this, for the longest time growing up, it seemed, you associate the business with your dad, but in retrospect, I realized he was only as good as my mother.
And what's the old saying? Always behind a good man is a good woman.
I would say beside a good man is a good woman.
Beside, okay, I agree. Great. I have a question with your father being a mortician, and I want to read this. And it's you said, my father helped people, and he often said, with a closed hand, nothing gets in and nothing gets out. Now, with the open hand, there are endless possibilities. Can you iterate on that and tell me what does that mean? What did he mean by that?
The moral to the story is to help somebody. If you want a blessing, you can't get a blessing
with a closed hand.
And more importantly, with a closed heart. We have everything we need in order to be successful in America. We as a Black people, we have everything we need. And if we are truly in touch with our Creator, we know that we operate or ought to be operating from a position of abundance and not one of lack, not one of, we don't lack anything. We are blessed. We have 13, 15, 20% of the population, but we have dominated any field we get into, including hockey, going back to the 1800s in Canada. So, we should be giving back. Service is the rent we pay for living. To whom much is given, much is required. Yes, it's a part of our tradition to help out. Look at Harriet Tubman. How many of us, Kat, would be willing to jeopardize our own freedom to go help somebody get theirs?
That's true.
And Harriet Tubman helped people, and then they still turn around and ran their mouth. Why, Harriet, get the big piece of chicken? Shut up. You got your freedom. You know what I mean?
Got your freedom.
Ungrateful people. Now, they the ones, that's why she carried that Colt 45. And I'm talking about those people who are the first ones in line when they need help, but the last ones willing to render help.
To render help. Yep.
The first one in line to need help, but the last one to offer somebody else help. We have to be mindful of those people. They in all races.
Why do you think they are that way?
They just naturally selfish. Their mothers didn't love them well enough.
Now, is it now? Do you think that
maybe
mothers didn't love them
pamper.
enough, or do you think they just didn't get enough love?
And mothers didn't love them properly. In Psych 101, they talk about stingy people. That means their mother took their pampers too soon. Generous people mean their mother left their Pampers on a little longer than they should have. So it's supposed to be this type of balance, according to Psych 101. Who is it? Sigmund Freud and those guys, Pavlov, hierarchy of needs, you know it.
Yes. So before since your dad was a mortician, was there a reason why you didn't want to follow that path?
That's a great question. I don't like the smell of dead people.
Okay.
I grew up, there was a morgue. The first funeral home on Patterson Park, the morgue was in the back in what would be a garage today. The second funeral home, the morgue, was downstairs. We lived on the second and third floor. I don't like the smell. The smell is something that there's nothing like it. And that was primarily it. In terms of serving the people, you know, that's how I was raised. We were raised to be hospitable to the grieving family. I mean, that's second nature. And that's where moms really had the smooth touch. Because my dad was real, you know, he was straight North Avenue-ish. Ain't a whole lot of compromise. Give me my money.
Yeah.
You ever try to collect money from people after you've already buried their loved one?
No. Wow.
You ain't getting that money. And so let me say this, in terms of going back to that concept. My father, Mr. Diet, Mr. William C. Brown, Mr. Joseph Brown, Mr. Vernon Bailey, all of those funeral directors that I grew up knowing, they all paid for funerals. They all helped people who did not have. They have been there for us as a people throughout their entire existence. And a shout out to the funeral directors, the Black funeral directors, because they have had to carry a ball. You know, I think back to when Mr. William C. Marks was getting started and how he was expanding and growing. I remember the jealousy and the hatred that he got from some funeral directors. But yet he still provided. He still provided an affordable funeral for many people, especially my brothers and sisters in East Baltimore. So one thing that the funeral director has done that I'm very proud of, they have served the community, and not just in terms of helping people when their money is funny, but they are involved quite often in elections and getting people voted. One thing my dad was most proud of was when the funeral directors took seniors to the polls. And personally, I love seeing that all the time, because limos are nice. I personally prefer these Cadillac Superior, and you shouldn't just ride in one going to the damn cemetery. You should ride in a Cadillac Superior like Mike's taking us to lunch in a few days. Get that Cadillac Superior. That's the one that looked like the Charlie Chan top. You know, it's kind of got the Cadillac Superior. Yes.
So Doni, so how many siblings do you have?
That's another great question. I'm my father's only child. I'm my mother's fourth.
Okay.
So she had Carolyn and Teddy with the beard sitting down. They went home. They got their wings this year. And so it's me and Andre. It's me and Andre left. Andre and I left.
So you're the youngest of the siblings of your mom?
Yeah, and the best looking too.
Yeah, very handsome young man, Doni.
We were all blessed. My mom was, you know, then my siblings knew her in her younger days, so I've only seen pictures of my mom in her younger days. Head turner, no question.
Yeah, so you lost your mom at a young age?
20.
Wow. Oh man. Beautiful lady. Very beautiful lady.
Oh, she could cook anything. She had a heart of gold. She believed in helping the less fortunate. Her last Thanksgiving, I remember chopping on some, either some German chocolate cake or some pineapple upside down cake. Those were my favorites. And she handed me 2 plates wrapped in aluminum foil and said, here, take them and give them to somebody. I said, give them to who, Ma? And she said,
give them away.
Anybody. She said, anybody. Years later, I would meet B. Gaddy. And for the longest time, I had this this adoration for B. Gaddy. And then years later, so I'm telling you the story about my mom's. Years later, I would meet B. Gaddy, we'd sit and talk, and I would revere her for years until one day it dawned on me that long before I ever met a B. Gaddy, my mother showed me unconditional love. Anybody. And that's exactly how B. Gaddy was. So she kind of like brought a lesson I had learned years before. She brought it full circle for me. She told me how she gave up her bed for people to sleep. B. Gaddy. I'll never forget when she ran for office, how nobody on the city council supported her, including the East Side Democratic Organization, and she smashed all of them. She's a champion, and shout out to Cynthia Brooks, her daughter, veteran, U.S. veteran. We salute you, soldier, who is still carrying the ball at the B. Gaddy Center on North Chester Street. And as we step into November, of course, this will be their busiest time of the year, but they serve people. I want people to know the B. Gaddy Center serves people all year long. Food, clothes, they help people with job placement, and they also refer people to drug treatment, because when you're serving the less fortunate, you're going to deal with every issue imaginable. So big ups to the B. Gaddy Center.
Yes, absolutely. So Doni, what was your life growing up in Baltimore?
What ages? So we moved back to West Baltimore when I was about nine or so. Up until that, I was straight East Side, other than going to school on the West Side. But my life was, I remember the 68 riots. I remember 1968, people throwing coat hangers with steel wool attached to it on fire. When we got to West Baltimore, I finally had a chance to play outside. My parents, you know, they were rather protective of me over in East Baltimore. It was a tough neighborhood. You know, I had a brand new bike, but I couldn't ride outside. I had to ride it in the basement. We had a double basement. So everything I had was kind of double, because it was a double house. So the part that wasn't used for a funeral home was quite often my playroom. But getting back to West Baltimore, got a chance to play James Mosher baseball, oldest Black Little League in the country, second oldest. You know, it needs to be verified, but we say it's the oldest. I sold afros, had the largest afro paper route in West Baltimore. Piano lessons, 2 blocks from where I live now, down on Carrollton Avenue from Mr. Bonds. Went to Matthew Henson, played sports at Eastwood Recreation Center with some very talented players in all sports. Now, my sport is baseball. I was playing baseball.
So what position did you play?
Baseball?
Yes. I'm a shortstop, softball. So what position did you play?
Third, pitcher, catcher. But you start off in the outfield. You start off with James Mosher riding the bench most of the game. You only get two innings.
So what you're trying to say, so if you're really not that good, you start out in the outfield and move your way in?
Yeah, they had to give you 2 innings. So they stick you out in the outfield until you prove yourself. You got to prove, you know, I think that was one of the bigger lessons at James Mosher for life, that you're not just coming in here. That's like going in the ring and beating, like Manny Pacquiao going against Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
Pacquiao is a boxer, but he's also a congressman. Floyd Mayweather's a boxer. So who's going to be in the gym training more? Mayweather. So similarly, you know, those who put in, you're not just going to come into James Mosher, at least back in those days, I'm talking about some phenomenal players. Stink, Brian Easley, Howard Fields, Kevin Davis. These cats were home run hitters. You're not just going in there and beating them. You had to earn your stripes. We won the championship in '76. James Divers, Greg White, Dwayne Davis. But we lost for 2 years. For 2 years, our record was horrible. We were like the Bad News Bears. But the third year, oh baby, oh baby.
Oh baby, oh baby. Y'all got
it
together.
Baby, oh baby. 1976.
Wow.
The champs.
So Doni, so what high school did you go to?
Well, I can't skip over. I got to throw in Matthew Henson Elementary and then William H.
All right, let's go to
LaMelle
elementary. Okay.
Junior High School. Hello, Chicago, Cynthia Boykin. But I did 2 years at Poly.
Okay.
Where they kicked my butt up and down the math lab. Oh, yeah. I still remember the quadratic equation. After 2 years of getting my butt kicked at Poly, I ended up transferring to Dunbar.
Okay.
I realized at Poly I did not want to be an engineer.
Oh, so you wanted to be an engineer? Huh.
Oh, I went to Poly because I was told that's where smart people go. And the person who referred me was a Poly alumni. In retrospect, I wish someone would have suggested City only because it's more for liberal arts.
Mm.
Yeah, Poly wasn't a pleasant experience.
Wow. So you ended up at Dunbar. So how did you make out at Dunbar?
And it was some culture shock at Poly. I never went to school with white kids before. In Hamden. I'm just finding out that Holmes Heights is blocks from Poly. That's the independent Black community that's currently being threatened by the wealthy residents of Roland Park.
Roland Park. Wow.
Okay, so you just had a question.
Yeah, so you left Poly, you went to Dunbar. So how did you make out in Dunbar?
Played 3 sports each year, varsity, varsity baseball.
Pretty good then.
Co-captain of the wrestling team, sang on the choir. And the biggest thing was probably meeting some teachers like Estella Ingram, my science teacher. She was actually my summer school teacher for Algebra 2, Trig, and Physics. And this Black woman made all of that seem so simple. And I kind of got
teachers.
I got the impression that the teachers at Poly just weren't that nurturing. They weren't that, there was no coddling at Poly. No, not in the A course, no coddling. Nobody's giving you a break, none of that. And just as soon as you think you got one theorem down, they're dropping 2, 3, 4, 5 more on you. I will say it was the most, it was the greatest academic challenge ever. Trying to learn something you have no idea about. And on top of that, realizing that some of your counterparts, some of your classmates have seen this math before. I never felt so ill-prepared.
Wow.
I wish I would have gotten more math through LaMelle, even in elementary school. I mean, it wasn't that difficult, but when people are dropping new concepts on you, and they're not taking a break. Poly's A course is college level. I don't care what anybody says. I've taken college courses that did not keep up with the pace of Poly's A course.
Wow. Okay, so you So what year did you graduate from Dunbar?
83.
83. So you graduated from Dunbar.
I want to put it. I didn't finish. Estella Ingram, Elsie Gladden, who was the principal my final year there. Big ups also to Coach Bob Wade.
Oh, Bob Wade. Oh, yeah.
And Coach Uncle Loke. Uncle Loke was our wrestling coach. He and Coach Bob Wade are the best of friends. And just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Miss Woodley, some of the teachers there at Dunbar who, for me, it was like a homecoming. You know, even though you've been out there and these tough teachers at Poly and punch you all in your head, come on in here, let us love you. and get you to where you need to be, which was Morehouse College. And thank you to Ms. Lillian Gundy for advising me to go to Morehouse. She said, "You look like a Morehouse man." It was the way she said it. You look like a Morehouse.
So that was my next question. So that's where you went to college, Morehouse.
Well, that's where I started my college tour.
Okay. Take me around your tour.
Oh my God, 7 colleges. After Poly and Mom's got sick with cancer, I tried to stick it out in Atlanta. Went to Georgia State. Okay. Ended up going to Towson, Morgan, BCCC. I went to Hopkins for a minute. Morehouse, Coppin, and finished at Coppin.
You finished at Coppin. So out of all those colleges, which one was the best experience?
Morehouse.
Morehouse? Okay.
And where else can you be on the campus with some of the greatest, brightest minds in the world? With Spelman directly across the street. And they are intelligently beautiful themselves.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So where did you pick up wanting to be a journalist?
I would blame my Aunt Idella Jones.
You're going to blame your aunt.
I blame Aunt Idella. During Sunday school, even though I was her nephew, she made me read every Sunday in Sunday school. Me and Christopher Ficklin.
Wow, good.
Chris finished at City. She made us read every, stand up and read. And what this is, I didn't know it, but she was setting me up, public speaking. Then my father gave me an important lesson too.
And what was that lesson your father gave you?
I had broken law. I was around Western District and they were reading my charges and the judge was talking to me. I was still a teenager, I think. And I was mumbling. And I'll never forget my father looking down at me like flabbergasted that I was speechless, that, hold up, wait a minute. Are you the same one that run their mouth uptown, but now you like, speak up, boy. And I've been speaking up ever since. When you're right there in front of that judge, you're thinking about this and that. In your lowest moment, in my lowest moment, at that time, my father said, "Speak up, son. Articulate. Don't mumble now.
That's right.
No need to get shy now."
That's right. So Doni, so when you finished college, what did you do? When you first came out of college, what did you do?
Well, that was 96. Now, mind you, I started in 83, went back to college in 93. By 94, I was the editor, co-editor of the Sandtown Winchester Viewpoint newspaper. I did that from 94 to 2000. And around 99, 2000, I got a job with the federally funded empowerment zone under Diane Bell McCoy and Mr. Michael Preston, and started doing freelance writing for the Afro, for the Baltimore Times, for the Final Call, and any other publication that would take my work.
Okay. Wow. So as you're coming through college, you got through college, you're out of college, during that time, and you're doing all this writing, do you have any regrets growing up during that time frame?
Hell yeah, who don't? Yes.
You want to share?
Cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin. Don't do it.
So can I ask you, what age did that start?
Ooh. Experimentally, 18.
Wow, really?
I realized in retrospect that it was not normal to grow up with cocaine on the corner, around the corner. It's not normal. We grew up in a drug zone. Yeah, people tell you don't just say no. I get it. Just say no. But there were a lot of young men who ended up going into the drug trade in my neighborhood, Moreland Avenue. I think we had more kingpins per square block than any other part of town. But it's, coming through our neighborhood, you were going to sell it, or some people used it, and then some people avoided it altogether. I wish I would have avoided it altogether. Absolutely. Because some people don't make it out.
Yes.
A lot of people don't make it out.
A lot of people don't make it out.
Or they make it out in bad shape. They get clean. The next thing you know, they got this disease, that disease, after years and years of abusing their body. But Baltimore is super saturated with drug corners. Mm-hmm. And with those generations of drug dealers come generations of evil. Mm-hmm. I know a former kingpin who has lost a son, got another son addicted. I know another kingpin who's lost all their children to the game. And the story goes on and on. Nothing good comes from selling cocaine. Nothing. Just like people that sell liquor. And I'm talking about during Prohibition. Nothing good comes from that. Even if you make a lot of money off of it, it's dirty money. Remember the movies where the black mama like, I don't want your blood money. I don't want that dirty money. The old black mama, the old black daddy, they going up on values. They depending on the Lord. They don't want that drug money, no matter how attractive it is. A lot of us will take that drug money, though. A lot of us will take that drug money, that dirty money. A lot of us will, including church people. They claim they love the Lord, but they will take that dope money faster than a Baltimore speed camera. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and I ain't trying.
So my question, so Doni, knowing, you being with the cocaine, and then, with your father, giving back to help people. What are you doing to help those people that out there on that street doing those drugs? They're there where you used to be. Is there anything that you want to say to those guys besides not just saying no?
I think when the people in the neighborhood see you walking through and you ain't going to the dope man, that's a statement all by itself. I think when you go through the strip, when I walk through Lawn Street and a newcomer might say, hey, Unc, I got that coke, that dope, that rock, and another youngster will pull him to the side like, leave him alone. He don't get down like that. I think that is the greatest honor. On the other hand, there are people who will still try to put that label on you about heroin, dope, and coke. Oh, he's still getting high. But these are people who haven't taken the time to understand the disease of addiction. It's easy to point fingers. And let me say this. In light of all of the 12-step meetings I have been to, there are a lot of people who never touched a drink or a drug that need to have their hind parts in a 12-step meeting themselves. It's easy to say, look at them. Whether it's the drug addicts, the homeless people, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's the mother that takes blood money from their child who is hustling. It's easy to point a finger. Right. It's easy to point the finger at the Russians, at the Ukrainians, at the Jews, at the Muslims, at the Republicans, at the Nation of Islam. It's easy to point a finger. What's difficult is to understand why people think and do what they do. But in this neighborhood, the best thing that I can do is not buy dope, not participate in that lifestyle. And for those who may remember me when I ripped and ran these streets, they know There are a lot of people who used to get high, and a lot of people overcome. And it's a challenge because it's not easy to stop once you pick up certain things. Because when it starts off, it's all fun and games. Everything's slick. You think you down. You think you with the big boys until you find out the reality, which is they were just as full of low self-esteem and misinformation as were you.
We're good. So I want to talk about you personally. So how many children do you have?
I have a son, I have a daughter. A son,
have,
a son, and a daughter, Nyende.
Okay, and grandchildren?
One grandson, Amari, one granddaughter, Satori Shai.
Wow, wow. So what is your hope for them, the grandchildren? Knowing what you've been through, knowing everything you've gone through and you're still going through, what is your hope for your grandchildren?
That they have the best relationship with the good Lord and that they study hard. My son and my daughter have 3 A's in their name. That's because I want A's. Don't bring me back C's, D's, B's, bring me A's.
I hear that. Look at this photo. I have a question. So, what's up with the New York Yankee hat?
I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a serious Yankees fan. Don't make me pull out my jacket. See, the Orioles betrayed us.
Well, what do you mean the Orioles betrayed us?
Oh yeah, they betrayed. Well, I am a huge. You know, the best Yankees come out of Baltimore. You do know that. Babe Ruth. Reggie Jackson is my favorite baseball
Mr.
player.
October. Yes.
Mr. October. And when the Orioles traded him, when the Orioles refused to accommodate him, he went to New York.
And you went with
three home runs in that World Series game and became Mr. October. So yes, I'll never forget. And see, Reggie Jackson wasn't the first Baltimore Oriole that got treated greasy. They did the same thing to Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson almost did not stay because he couldn't find housing in this home of segregation, this bastion of apartheid.
Wow. So I have one more thing. Can you tell us about
your the Orioles that you can't match it with a whole lot of stuff, you know?
Well, guess what?
I love blue, so they messed up right there.
Yeah, I love blue, but I don't like them Yankees. And guess what? They're sitting at home doing this World Series, though, Doni. Sorry, buddy.
They also won more World Series than anybody else. Anyway, y'all got to catch up. And then the Orioles, let's go to this. Okay. There are no black players on the Orioles. They might have one or two. Baseball has been whitewashed. Black players have been, I mean, what happened to all of the black players with Al Bunbury, Mike Cuellar, Paul Blair, Ken Singleton, Lee May? There was a time when this majority black city with black baseball players, we love the Orioles as much as the Colts. Now people love the Ravens. Generally speaking, people love the Ravens. Plus the Ravens are in the community. You never see the Orioles bird on Pennsylvania Avenue. You never see the Orioles bird on North Avenue. That's because the owners are disconnected from the people of Baltimore. You never see the Orioles in the hood, but you liable to see the Ravens. I remember seeing Ray Lewis many, many times down at Eden's Lounge back in the day.
And question back to before I go to the next question. Speaking of the baseball, are our young men playing baseball now?
Well, a wise man, Imam Earl Alamein, explained just 2 days ago that number one, there's a shortage of black men in the community. So this is 2022. When I grew up, 1975. So you're talking about in the past 45 years, there has been an all-out assault, elimination, minimalization of black men in the community. I was at an event last night called Dear Black Girl, and I understand, I empathize with the pain that our sisters have gone through if there was one thing I wanted to say, it's like life ain't been no crystal stair for brothers either. Now, their point, I think, was how poorly a lot of men have treated Black women. I get it. But let's be fair. A lot of some Black women have been unfair to Black men too. I mean, when you talk about relationships, you can point fingers all day long. Mm-hmm. We all got to step up. We all got to improve our game. We all got to revere and adore each other. If not, then that sister, that brother might be looking outside his race. He might no longer want a Black queen. Mm-hmm. She may no longer be caring about a man that looked like her daddy. Wow. So we don't see baseball in the community. We don't see Black men playing baseball. Baseball is not revered. The only Blacks you see playing are the ones who are the descendants of Latinos who were taught by players from the Negro leagues in America who went down south during the off season. So the Black man, we gotta
step it up.
Well, we gotta assess where we are, look at our strengths, look at our weaknesses. Mm-hmm. We have to cut the prison, prison pipeline.
Absolutely.
Black women are the number one, the rising demographic, fastest rising demographic in the prison system. And America incarcerates more people than any country on earth. America. How are we 15% of the population but 50% of the prisons? How are we 15% of the population but 50% of the murder victims? Because there's a war. There's always been a war. Ever since our first interaction with the European or North American shores, there has been a war. Be not mistaken. Smallpox, AIDS, crack, it's all the same damn thing. Poison.
Amen. I got one more question before Mike take over with you. Can you tell us about the book Unapologetically Black? And what does that mean in describing you? Beautiful. So tell me about.
A lot of times when they bring us on television, they always want the Black man smiling. Mm-hmm. Almost like Sambo, That's a part of trying to make us, apologize for, like we have to, off the break, apologize for this melanin in our skin because the mainstream reporter is uncomfortable with our beauty. See, we got to know this. We get so much hate because we're beautiful. That's why. And you get hate from people who have low self-esteem and don't think that they are beautiful. It's kind of like having a troublesome kid in the back of the classroom. If you don't G-check that troublesome kid is going to disrupt the whole class. And that's kind of like what's going on in America. You have these low self-esteem people like Donald Trump who are not happy with their own life, so they got to go around and make other people feel miserable about their lives instead of counting our blessings and realizing how fortunate we are to be where we are. But some people live in fear. Chuck D, Public Enemy, fear of a black planet, fear of the browning of America, fear of the Black man, fear the Black man is going to take the white woman, fear that the Black man and the Black woman and the Black child are going to pay white America back for all of the rapes, the lynchings, the George Floyds, the Trayvon Martins, the mass incarceration, the piss poor public education, the public lynchings, and so on and so forth. People living in fear like the first thing we're going to do when we have power is put white people in slavery. That's a guilty conscience. That's like a man coming home and blaming his woman for cheating when he been cheating the whole damn time.
Doni, thank you so very much. Thank you so much for letting me into your world and into your life. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'll be sending you an invoice. Don't worry.
Well, it sounds like another book to me. I got to tell you, I was fascinated sitting there listening because, this is what it's really about, Kathy, and I really appreciate you doing this interview with Doni and, hearing about his upbringing, his parents, his grandparents, his grandkids. I didn't know he had two. I didn't know he was a product of only his daddy and his mama had four. And so, this is what it's all about with people. And then unapologetically black, And you're listening to 60 Minutes in Black America. We have the founder of BlackUSA.News, Doni Glover. We're talking about his life, his legacy, his pains, his joys. And Doni, I really appreciate your honesty with us tonight, man. And, what I'd like to do is pivot, first of all, to talk about, you as a journalist and you as what I describe as a media mogul, and begin to look at some of the travels you made around the world, man, understanding who you are now and some of the successes, it gives me a better perspective
halfway around the world.
Why you are where you are, man. Well, you may have traveled physically halfway around the world, but from what I have seen and studied of you, you have given us a perspective of the world in places that none of us may not have gone by your study and by your intuition. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's truly about. So again, 60 Minutes in Black America is on the BlackUSA.News network, Doni, and I want to talk about that network for a minute before we transition into some of your writings, Unapologetically Black, Black Wall Street, etc. Talk about some of the significant interviews you've done. And let's talk about the shows on BlackUSA.News right now. And let's start off with Sunday. We got Martin Mitchell, right? Who starts Sundays off with People Over Politics. And you've got 60 Minutes in Black America. Then you've got it following 60 Minutes in Black America, Date 'em All, Sis, with Erica Buck Alston. And then on Mondays, who do we have? Mondays, we've got Chap and Quita, right?
And Yolanda Pulley.
You have Yolanda Pulley.
Easton Rodriguez, Donna Tabron, and then following them at 8 o'clock is Robert Washington with the
Robert Report. Then on Tuesdays, who do we have, Doni, on Tuesdays on BlackUSA.News?
Oh, man. Tuesdays is Deborah Hardnett from Atlanta, Wealthy Sisters. And, of course, I do the morning show at 9 a.m. Troy Rollins does the noon show live from Los Angeles Monday through Friday.
Wow. And then Wednesdays, because we essentially have shows 7 days a week around the clock, and I encourage you to go to BlackUSA.News Facebook page or Google BlackUSA.News website. And I'm saying to you, viewers, that if you want to understand what's going on in our communities around the world, this is a credible vehicle for media and for information. And as Doni mentioned, Doni is on 5 days a week at 9 o'clock. Hear his interviews with people of significance because everyone knows him and everyone wants to have Doni in their audience so that he can ensure that he tells our people, what is happening in our communities. But Doni, let's talk about being unapologetic about being black. And I want to play this clip, man, first. If you guys can cue up and play this clip with Doni promoting his book. If we can play that first clip.
I'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. The one and only Mayor for Life, D.C. Councilman Marion Barry. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. I'm doing very well.
Good, good. From the national and international, so much is happening, a lot of protests around the world. Does it surprise you?
No, it doesn't. When you have this thirst for freedom, the United States government is promoting freedom and democracy, yet we don't have it here in the nation's capital. You expect young people to rise up. Most revolutions are started by young people. And in Egypt, it just blossomed, in my view, very beautifully against a dictator of 30 years. Our dictators ought to be scared now that their population is going to rise up against that kind of totalitarian rule, which you don't expect in the western part of the world, but apparently it exists. The Middle East is in ferment. You've been Iran and Iran and other places rising up. And maybe one day in this country, we'll rise up against a lack of self-government here in Washington and raise our voices and our fists and our feet marching to try to get that known.
So, Donnie, you interviewed Marion Barry, right? You said that that was one of the more significant interviews that you've conducted, and I think I understand why, because the significance that Marion Barry meant to communities of color, particularly in Washington, D.C., what he did for black businesses and what he did for blacks in Washington, D.C. Tell us a bit about that interview with Marion Barry, how you got it, and how you felt talking with this with Marion Barry, knowing that you guys shared some of the same backgrounds and some of the same challenges as well.
We talking about getting high with the crack? Yeah, a lot more in common than that. I mean,
I didn't say that. You said that.
oh, that's what you were alluding to.
No, not at all.
What were you alluding to?
I was alluding to the fact that you push Black Wall Street, he pushed black people, you
push
guys,
black
some of the
business like no
same,
other.
that's right, absolutely, some of the same, and that's a challenge. You talked
He,
about
he,
Baltimore a few minutes ago in terms of how challenging, segregated it was, and racist it
he
was, so
made
you and him
sure
had some of the
everybody
same
ate.
challenges.
That's how he got down. He made sure everybody ate.
And
And
they set him up too, didn't they? They set
of
him
course,
up numerous
of
times.
course they did. But what I love even more than Marion Barry are the people of Washington, D.C. who dismissed the mainstream media. Just like that. We going with Marion Barry. I love that. If we could replicate that all over Black America, we'll be just fine.
So
He
what do
was
we
not
need to replicate that, Donnie? So you've got the platform for media. Do we need our
political
politicians
leaders.
to be on the same
Let
same
me ask you a
page?
question. Political leaders with vision, political leaders who already have their own money. A lot of people don't realize that Marion Barry was a chemist. He was a scientist before he even became a politician. He was also a civil rights leader. He took a bullet in D.C. A lot of people don't know that Marion Barry was shot trying to stop some hijackers from coming in and taking over. But they love him because he understood the business. If you coming over here and you doing business, then you're going to take care of some of my people. And he did that with every deal. So when you think of Donahue Peebles, who's now turning down multi-million-dollar contracts because California councilman has been caught saying some racist stuff. This is all a byproduct. When you think of what's his name, BET guy, Bob Johnson, then his wife, all of this came out of Marion Barry school of thought. And more than what he did, it was how we were institutionalized to believe in ourselves. That's what he did. He made believing in black sexy again. Or he kept it going. I mean, DC's kept the black man for 40 years. Atlanta's kept the black man for 40 years. And Baltimore ain't doing bad. We let Martin O'Malley slip in there.
So let's talk about media, because that's what I want this second half to be about, media and what you have done for media, the significance of the Marion Barry interview for you. You also, we can go back to Ethiopia. We'll show a bit of the Ethiopia interview. You've done work in New York City, but the Marion Barry interview, you describe for your journalism or for your DM Global at that point as one that was significant. Any other significant interviews that you did with significant people that
Pete
you felt
O'Neill.
contribute?
Pete O'Neill
And
did.
we're gonna.
Exiled Black Panther in Tanzania. But let me say this. I've got one of the greatest interviews ever right there on Pennsylvania Avenue. There's a young man, a street person, who gave me some political analysis in between George Bush's re-election. And he said that George Bush is going to get reelected because nobody's going to switch up their quarterback at halftime.
Wow.
He was so right.
let's play that first clip of Pete O'Neill that Doni did going over to, was that in Tanzania, Doni, that you went to see Pete O'Neill? And Pete O'Neill, before we play that, Pete O'Neill is in exile, right? From the Black Panther Party. He's in exile for what reasons is he in exile, Doni?
My understanding is he carried some rifles across the street from Kansas City, Kansas to Kansas City, Missouri, and then they put a federal charge on him, and he hightailed out of town, out of the country.
Let's play that first clip. Wow. Hey, I like that opening. And before we get into your actual interview, a bit of that, man, back in, what was the year that you interviewed Pete O'Neill?
06.
'06. This is the graphics, man, and the description and how, that tape rolled out back then. That was, what, 16 years ago?
Corey Mathis put it together. Corey Mathis from New Orleans, he actually is responsible for me going to Africa. Also, Julian Moore in the evolution, the development of Be More News. Julian has gone on to glory, but he blessed Be More News. This is 20 years, man. We've seen everything from MySpace to Macromedia Dreamweaver to content management systems to Linux-based servers versus Microsoft servers, hacking, viruses, Facebook getting blocked, Facebook jail, getting blocked, whole bunch of stuff.
So do you think Facebook is an impediment for our people, man? We got to find another vehicle, and maybe this is the vehicle of figuring out how, as a people, we have our own TV or Facebook, so that because I know Facebook, if you use certain keywords like Black Lives Matter, whatever, they won't allow you to advertise or market certain things.
That's
You think
the
Facebook
beauty.
is an impediment?
Yes. That's the beauty of having a Dr. Tyrone Taborn with his STEM City USA. So as you give me props, I'm going to pass the ball to a Dr. Tyrone Taborn, founder of Career Communications Group, and his incredible, phenomenal wife, Jean Hamilton. They have, like I said, Black Engineer Magazine, Hispanic Engineer Magazine, Black Engineer of the Year Awards, Women in Technology Conference down in Atlanta and in Texas. He is now in the metaverse. So that means that our shows that we broadcast appear in the metaverse. So you can put the Oculus goggles on and get a full 21st century experience. But more importantly, Dr. Taborn and his team are committed. They are committed to closing the digital divide. So if there was a William Still of today, William Still being the father of the Underground Railroad, our Underground Railroad father today is in terms of the digital divide, is Dr. Tyrone Taborn, Taborn. Look him up.
So, and I know that Dr. Taborn is a big believer in BlackUSA.News and you, because there is a wonderful collaborative relationship there. So
and
your
he's
credibility.
been a supporter for years.
That's right.
Years.
So yeah.
See, let me say, that's why we must, with this network, that's why we're so interested in bringing in your Tasmere gathers, like the team of young professionals you have producing this show. That's why it is important to connect to them, because somebody did it for us. So all we're doing is passing the baton. That's all we're doing. They're going to do some things better, and they may do some things really, really great. But we just got to pass the baton. That's it. Pass the baton. Pass the baton. When you get an opportunity to help a young person, to share some insights, some wisdom, you know, honestly, Mike, we didn't get into it, but our, you know, besides the Black Wall Street Awards, our prison ministry has been the most rewarding. The awards and all of that are nice, but the time that we spent going over to Central Book and dealing with 14 to 17-year-olds charged with adult crimes, that was the most rewarding work ever. Because invariably they came up to me, at least 3 of them, and this was back in 06. 3 of them have come up to me on the streets, on the avenue, and said, thank you. Thank you for getting us out our cell. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm doing better now.
So Donnie, why did you feel compelled? Be More News understood. Be More News. You've got the Prince George's. You've got a publication in Prince George's County, but BlackUSA.News, right? You got Oakland. You mentioned Miami. You mentioned Atlanta. You mentioned New York. You know where you have shows. You know you got Los Angeles.
We had Miami.
Out
Joey
there with
Noble is
Troy.
on break. I guess he's
We
on
we
sabbatical.
still have him because he's a powerful brother. He's a powerful brother. We
And
still
let's just
have
say
him.
this is a man with no movement from the neck
Oh
down.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And him and
But
8-year-old Zaria in New York City, you know, they on pause now because not everybody can do a show all year, you know, every day, every week. But they have graced us with their presence and have inspired us. An 8-year-old little girl, a man who has no movement from the neck down, I'm inspired. I know I better bust my butt.
so why BlackUSA.News and what is your goal for Black USA News? What is your goal as a community and for our people?
For us to have our own news. How do you feel when you turn on Fox News, Fox Baltimore, Fox 45? How do you feel about the Black reporters there? What do you think of the content on Fox News? From my perspective, I see Black people in all kinds of negative lights on a regular basis as if it is the norm. Fox News has normalized trashing Black people. We want to normalize the opposite. We have no problem telling about the negatives, but let Fox News tell the story. There's nothing good from Black people. Everything is
Wow.
blamed on us. Every criminal that they've ever shown on Fox is Black. And when the criminal in the story is white, they will just not show their face. I
Wow.
want our young people to know that we are more than criminals. We run cities. We develop metaverses. We write books. We are judges. We are homeowners. We are construction company owners, entrepreneurs, teachers. So I want our people to know, like Malcolm said, that the media can serve us. Malcolm said that the media is the most powerful entity on earth. It has the ability to make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. So we must have a Black USA, a Be More News, and kudos again to those people in Black media who mentored and guided me, and names like Jake Oliver, Dr. Tyrone Taborn, and Charles Robinson come to mind.
Wow.
Legends who took the time to show me a thing or two, and I thank God for them. That's why I gotta pass it on. You don't get to keep this, man. You keep it by giving it to the next vessel. So don't cast your pearls among swine, but find some young people like those who help you with this show and pour everything that you can into them. And this is a pretty nice show. I need to find out how to get them on my team.
Let's play the next clip of Donnie doing an interview with Peter O'Neill in Tanzania. Let's see how Donnie handled that interview.
Greetings. Welcome to A Global Report. My name is Donnie Glover, publisher of BeMoreNews.com. During our trip to Tanzania a year ago, we had the opportunity to meet with Pete and Charlotte O'Neill. For those who may not know, Felix Pete O'Neill Jr. was the chairman of the Kansas City chapter of the Black Panther Party. And on October 30th, 1969, he was arrested for the transporting of a gun across the state line, a law that came into effect just 2 weeks prior to that, according to Wikipedia. In exile since 1969, he's lived in Algeria. I thought you were going to show, you got to move it down a bit. Fast forward it.
No, 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 no. We got this. This isn't your show. This is my show. So we showed that, and we
All
want
right,
to talk
you got
about
18
we.
minutes. I knew you was going to crack slick. I knew it was
No,
coming.
no, 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 no. It's not
Hey,
at all,
look,
man.
I
Because
got
we
my,
got
see my
we got a
vocabulary.
couple of clips. Hey, go ahead and
This is
play the
from
third
Stephen Wise.
clip.
Stephen
Go
Wise.
ahead
Stephen
because
Wise.
this is the boss here. This is the boss, and Donnie
Ain't that
is the
beautiful?
boss here. It
Yeah.
is absolutely beautiful, man. And let's play that third clip of Donnie in
Come on, man.
Tanzania
Show
now
Pete
as well.
O'Neill, man. Teasing.
Education in the States.
Education in
Yeah.
the state.
We wear $200 tennis shoes. Christmas time comes around, people still go buck wild crazy buying things they can't afford, particularly in the black community.
At the same time, I've had people ask me if they could drive to Africa. I think that I believe that the educational standard. I think they recruit. And I don't want to be disrespectful. I think people aren't trying to be anyway unfair or anything. But this is the truth. For a great many people, the phrase "the dumbing down of America" rings true. It really does. I have.
The dumbing down of America. That was a powerful question that you asked him on education, man. And,
He
and, and
goes
let's
on to
talk about
say,
that.
he goes on in that clip that he wants to, he attempted to inspire young people that despite America and despite what we think we have to say to get more views and listens, despite all of that, have some integrity about your work. You know, have a level of black excellence that you're aiming for, because quite frankly, there are people out there trying to knock you off.
Let's talk about your level of excellence, Donnie, with the Black Wall Street. You've given out how many Black Wall Street awards over the course of its existence?
About 1900.
You've given out 1,900 Black Wall Street awards, and what was the impetus behind Black Wall Street awards?
A
Why did you
blind man,
start it?
a blind man, a blind man. His name Lehman Best. Lehman said, he invited me. You know, we brought him on the radio show. He was having talent shows. Lehman Best, a blind man, physically blind, but he could see better than most people. Anyway, I go to the ceremony, and the blind man got 3 or 4 tables with about 200 trophies on it. This blind man got more trophies than James Mosher baseball. And I'm like, oh my. And he does it, he was doing it all the time. And these go to community people, young people, singers. He showed me what I am supposed to be doing. Actually, I said to myself, if he giving away this many, I better get to working hard. It just everything just fell into place. But I was inspired. I am inspired by Mr. Lehman Best and his team, including his wife, for what he has done. And I said, if the blind man over there inspiring people, then I need to step my game up. And I'm not at all saying, I'm saying blind in the sense he could see. And I'm not saying blind in like he was handicapped. I'm saying I've been handicapped. I'm thinking about what I can't do. I'm looking at what I haven't done. And this blind man is showing me how to fly, how to soar, how to do it. So blind actually being a compliment that he can see what us dummies can't see with eyes.
Wow. And you've taken Black Wall Street to Atlanta, I believe, as
We
well as Harlem, New York.
It's a team of people, including God rest his soul, Mr. Joe Mans, his son Josh, Lee Vaughn over in DC, Beverly Smith down in Atlanta, Robert Scott up in New York City, Regina Smith, Walter Edwards, Mr. Victor Pate, Tasmere Gathers. It's a team of us. Different places, we call in certain specialists like Robert Scott down in Atlanta, who can, pull it together, find us a venue. Mr. Victor Pate, this space got closed. Hey, Mr. Vic, we need a venue. He sent us over to 116th Street to the Mist. And everything is lovely. Everything is wonderful. Prince George's County, Chef Darnell Long at Old Town Inn down in Upper Marlboro has given us much love. We get a lot of love in our Prince George's County. DC too. Love Prince George's though. Gorgeous Prince George's.
Wow. So Doni, your inspiration, because you've written 2 books. We talked about the book behind us, Unapologetically Black, which was your first publication, right?
Yes.
And we're going to find that video clip before the night is over. And you also wrote I Am Black Wall Street. Talk about I Am Black Wall Street, your inspiration behind I Am Black Wall Street. And moreover, people recognize you as someone that constantly promotes and believe in the promotion of black businesses, almost like Marion Barry. Talk about I Am Black Wall Street for a minute.
The book came out last year, 2021. Last year represented the centennial commemoration of what happened in Tulsa back, May 31st, June 1st, 1921, when 36 square blocks of black businesses were bombed from the air. Bombed from the air. Bombed from the air and burned to the ground. All because some white men said that a black man raped a white woman, and it's been later reported that that same black man and white woman ended up getting married. Black Wall Street is important. I wanted to look at, for the commemoration, I had to write a book because we do too many of these awards, and I'm too much of a business person not to have some type of product that comes straight out of the book of David Miller. But when you think about Black Wall Street, you don't think about anything but Oklahoma. Nobody looks at how those people got there. I wanted to look at the story behind the story. Of course, Be More News, our mantra is the news before the news. I wanted to look at how those people got to Oklahoma, which back then was Indian territory. And I found out that they came from Florida, the first group in the 1840s. They were led by a free black man, despite all of the mainstream media that says the blacks on the Trail of Tears were slaves. And we found out that Captain John Brown, a white man, is the second hero to the book. First being Chief John Horse, a black Indian. So this book is a reminder that we cannot allow someone else to tell us our story. There's some people, like one of our videos, we got a couple 100,000 hits on Black Indians video on the YouTube channel, Donnie Glover. A lot of us don't believe that black people were here in the Americas before slavery, but we were. We've been in these Americas for tens of thousands of years. But because other people are writing the history books, we become ashamed, silent, about the lineage that we know. We know we have indigenous blood. We know we have blood from the islands, from the Caribbean, from here, from there. But we let America tell us that we just came in the bottom of a slave ship, and that's the beginning and end. Our history does not begin nor start with slavery.
Wow, there's no doubt about that. That's powerful, man. We're winding down. I want to make sure that we give you time to talk to the
I'm
people.
just getting revved up, man.
I know you are, man. That's why we have to have you back, because there's like so much history on Donnie Glover. There's like Send the invoice to me, man. You know, it won't be the first
Well,
bill I
let me
haven't
take a
paid.
moment and thank you. Since we
Well,
almost done.
we're gonna give you that moment, but we got a couple things we want to get to. We want to talk about Ethiopia, man. And you know, you made a trip to Ethiopia. Let's play that first clip from Ethiopia of Doni's visit. What did you feel like in that center? How did that center feel, man, with those kids around you? And what was it that you all were saying?
They were saying, "Welcome to Ambo." I hear you. Welcome to Ambo. I hear you. Welcome to Ambo. I hear you. Welcome
How'd
to
you
Ambo
feel?
town, just out of Addis.
How'd you feel, man? How'd you feel and why'd you go to Ethiopia?
I've been wanting to go to Africa for 25 years. And then lo and behold, the first place that I get the opportunity to go for a very reasonable price is to Ethiopia, the only land in Africa that was not colonized by the European. Mussolini was in there for a couple of years, but Ethiopia, the home of Lalibela, the home of Timket, the home of the oldest known Bible, the home of the women fighter pilots and women airline pilots, the home of Amatic. So much going on there in Ethiopia, the home of Africa's oldest airline. Ethiopia represents the best of Africa in my estimation.
Wow. Hey, let's play that second. Let's play that second cut of Doni in Ethiopia right now.
Hi, I'm Morton Glover, publisher of BeMoreNews.com, and this is a global report. Exactly 1 year ago, this little news service that could was blessed to go to Mother Africa. This was a 25-year dream finally realized thanks to our executive producer, Mr. Corey Mathis, and his very proud dad, Mr. Frazier Mathis of GlobalVessels.org. Global Vessels is involved in a number of projects in Africa, East and West, including Ethiopia and Tanzania. And that includes building orphanages for children who lost both parents to HIV and AIDS. During this journey, it was very plain to see that despite a lack of development, despite a lack of stability, economic and political, despite a lack of seemingly everything, at least compared to Western standards, there still lives a people who refuse to die. There still lives a people, despite all of those negative things, that just have the heart and courage and sinew to move on another day. Especially.
Wow. Hey, Doni, what is it? What is it? You had a little bit of hair back then, I noticed. You know, what does it mean to look back on that, man, and significance of not just going there?
I'm surprised I ain't got 30 children.
I know, man. You were absolutely great, man. You're surprised you don't have 30 children, but we're not going to go there. But you know, the significance of
that would be irresponsible if you are not going to spend time and raise them. A child is the greatest investment of our time that we can make. Too many of us are making babies and not raising these babies.
No doubt about it. But you know, as we listen to your story, as Katherine was telling your story, and to what you have progressed and become, man, you know, you've gone through life on life's terms, and you've conquered, you've overwhelmed, you've done a lot of good, if only for 1,900 people that received the Black Wall Street Award, or recognition that who knows may not have received anything. But you had the ability to foresee that and to do it as you continue to do today, even with this network. I want to make sure that I leave a bit of time for you. And I want to, first of all, thank you for every opportunity that you've given me and these students. And so, you know, I want to bring them on. I want to bring Jeremiah on. I want to bring Remy on. I want to bring Jasmine on. I want to bring Kelly that graduated from Morgan on, so that they can, you know, see what media looks like. And you heard his story. So there's nothing that we can't overcome. There's Jasmine at the top. You got Remy at the bottom. You got Jeremiah at the bottom that produces this show. You got Jasmine, and we're missing one person. Who are we missing? Kelly. Where's Kelly? Kelly's a graduate of Morgan State, right? Where's Kelly? Can we get Kelly in there?
Kelly, let's go. Kelly, let's go.
And
How
Kelly,
y'all doing?
Hi, we're doing good. How are you, Mr. Glover?
Y'all can stop that Mr. Glover thing, but we are proud of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are y'all gonna do with your media?
So I'll start. So currently I do have my own show called Sports Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk, which airs every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I want to be a sports analyst. We need more Black women in the sports, so that's what I want to do.
Do you play sports?
I used to play softball and flag football.
Okay, because it's nothing like watching somebody comment who's never played a sport.
Yeah.
That's like, okay. How about you, lady?
I'm just a producer on the show. I came in as helping Jasmine because I'm into sports as well, but she's a lot more intelligent in it. So I'm just here to support the brand.
and don't you graduate December from Warner?
I do.
Don't you graduate?
So we all go to Warner. I actually graduate with my bachelor's in December.
And what are you gonna do with it?
I'm unsure right now. Wherever God leads me.
That's a good answer.
Did you get to Jeremiah? Did
I'm
you
gonna
talk to
get there.
Jeremiah?
I want you ladies to know that you can go anywhere that you choose to, but this right here, the TV is nice, the radio is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, homeboy, this thing right here, this is the power.
Right.
If you can't write, you might as well just pack up and go home.
Wow, that's powerful.
You
Jeremiah.
This
Jeremiah.
This will set you apart. All right, come on, Jeremiah.
Yeah, my name is Jeremiah. I executive produce for Mike's show Wake Up Baltimore on Mondays, and also do also commentating for Jasmine's show First Impressions that she has. And also
Questions. Do you know how to send an invoice?
Do I know how to send an invoice?
See,
I'm
that's a
pretty
stall
sure.
tactic. That's a stall tactic.
Hey, so they just left.
No,
They just left Pittsburgh.
No.
Jasmine and Jeremiah.
See, this is why I
Jasmine
take
and Jeremiah just left Pittsburgh last week, where they did some interviews for internships of professional sports team and marketing teams around sports.
Can I finish?
They had, yeah, we're gonna give you a chance. We're gonna give you a chance to finish. We got 2 minutes, man. But
Okay.
I really appreciate you guys coming on, and you guys will get a chance to interact with Mr. Glover at some point. Thank you very much. Hey, Leon, why
I
don't
need
we
all three
play?
of y'all to send an invoice.
I
need
got
to
you.
Send your first invoice to Michael Haynie tonight. No, seriously, and write that this is what's the term? Complimentary. What's the word I'm looking for? Pro bono. But
Pro
I want
bono.
to create your invoice for your company right now and send him your sample invoice. I want, if I ever have another child, the first initial is going to be N, the middle name is going to be Voice, and the last name going to be Glover. Invoice Glover. This is one thing to be on TV and all of that. Just like those athletes playing and shooting. That's one thing. We want this.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and saying hi to Mr. Glover. And I promise you, we're going to make a connection.
Okay.
We're going to make the connection. Hey, can we play that Unapologetically Black clip? Did we get that up there before we got to go? I know we're pressed a bit for time.
We'd like to welcome you to the Doni Glover Show. I'm the publisher of BeMoreNews.com, also Harlem Business Journal. And if you get a chance, pick up a copy of Unapologetically Black. I've been told that I do not promote it enough. So there, bam. All right. So we've had a busy week. You can check out BeMoreNews.com, also HarlemBusinessJournal.com. Those are our 2 news outlets, and we're pretty proud of them. So let's just go forward. Rayshard Brooks, a 27-year-old black man, was shot and killed by an Atlanta police officer on the evening of June 12th, 2020. Brooks had resisted arrest, according to reports.
Wow, Donnie. Donnie, you look absolutely fantastic. Professional production, man. I mean,
So I want
and
to
this was
thank you,
too.
Mr. Michael Haynie, for believing in this network, for taking the time. You are a very good listener. You are, even though I don't agree with much of anything you say, you are a real good listener. He is supportive. He's a friend. And you want these kind of people, this is to your team, have people who celebrate you, not people who only tolerate you. My
That's
son tells
real,
me that
man.
all the time. Have
That's
people in
real.
your circle who celebrate you, not those who tolerate you. Tolerate you, we ain't got time for that. That means that we ain't in the same tribe. How you doing?
That's
I'm
Kelly.
good.
Kelly is our wonderful weather woman on Wake Up Baltimore in the morning. She's a graduate of Morgan State University. Kelly, talk to us about a minute about you before we pass the torch on to Mr. Glover.
Yes, I'm a voiceover artist with the Leon Thomas Group, and that's how I came in touch with Mike to be his weather woman.
Are you going to be doing weather on other networks?
Hopefully in the future, yes.
She has a talent, Donnie. She has a talent. We have some talented
Listen,
people,
go
man.
and
We're
take it. Don't wait for nobody. Kick the damn door down and don't give them no damn resume. Ask them, when do I start? No, seriously, I met
Okay.
people I know, they trainers. You got to have a resume. One of the most successful people I've ever met, Daniel P. Henson III, said he never had a resume. Reginald F. Lewis never filled out the application to go to Harvard. He talked his way in. Stop believing all of that crap. My son said that to me last night. Traditional don't mean jack. Get it.
Hey Kelly, we'll
Okay.
have Donnie wake up at 7:30 and check you out
No, you
tomorrow
won't.
morning on
That's
Wake Up
good luck.
Okay.
Baltimore.
We'll
Good
see
luck.
We'll
you
have him
then.
check you
Good
out.
luck.
And before
All
we
right.
go, I want to bring in Leon and Jay, what I call the 2 mentors of these young people as well. Leon and Jay, come on and say hi to Donnie. Leon, fantastic job. And where's Jay? Is Jay still
Thank you,
around?
Mr. Leon.
Jay's in the background. He's having camera issues, but he's able to hear. He's with us
Okay, well, as
live.
long as Jay
Yes,
hears our gratitude and thanks, you know, because this is
yes.
bigger than anything other than, first of all, this is, as I always say, this is documentary, particularly his story, particularly what Donnie has done, and moreover, what it is that you have done, Leon, with this group of young people to bring it to another level, man, because that's what it's about. That's what Black Wall Street's about. That's what Unapologetically Black is about, and why Donnie is someone that I believe we celebrate his story now. And so I appreciate you, Leon. You know that, and I love you, man. I love you for everything that you've done. So I know we got to go,
You ain't gonna let
but
me
I
leave.
want to
You ain't gonna
turn
let me
things
leave.
over to. I want to turn things over
Thank you.
to.
Thank you, Mike.
I want to turn things over to Donnie for the last 2 minutes. Donnie, you talked about celebration. 20 years of Black Be More News, man. You got some exciting things coming up, the balance of the year. Talk about the celebrations that you've had with Be More News to this point. And we're going to let you take us out. 60 Minutes in Black America, Mike Haynie, thank you for tuning in. Our founder, Donnie Glover, is going to take you out of 60 Minutes in Black America. Go for it, Donnie.
This is an original. It's called I Am Beautiful. With blood from our ancestors flowing warmly in my veins, I withstand the winds of hatred. I overcome the pains. Moving on and growing stronger in light of all these things, my dreams still relieve me. My heart forever sings. I am the Pharaoh and the prophet, the greatest king of all, my queen. She stands beside me. Always we stand tall. The Gold Coast is my homeland. Blessed is my place. For there isn't a single land that has never seen my face. I am Black and I am beautiful, a child of Almighty God. I've fought as a true soldier against each and every art. I'm the son of the Madonna and the light of all the world, and my legacy remains for every boy and little girl. I've flown the skies and sailed the seas and built the pyramids to a T. I've taught medicine to those near and far. and have flown in spaceships to the stars. The hands of time can never erase my ordained, appointed, and sacred place, for God is with me all the way. I am black, and I am beautiful every day. And that's in this book here, Unapologetically Black, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. They might have it up at everyone's place up there on North Avenue. So there you have it. Thank you to the wonderful teammates. And for our young people, go get yours. Don't let anybody stop you. The only limitation is the one you put in your own mind. I forgot which Morehouse president said it. Might have been Benjamin Mays, but the sin is not in failing your goal. The sin is in not having a goal to aim for. So make some goals. Write it down. A wise man, Ray Haysbert, said it best. Write it down. Have a notebook. You get great thoughts. I got a notebook upstairs and one downstairs. Keep a pen. Keep a note. Write it down. Write down your vision. We want a television station. Write it down. I wrote it down last night. Write it down. Write down your dream. You can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. And personally, I love it when they tell me what I can't do. That just motivates me, including who we vote for. State of Maryland is about to make history. Some of us never thought we would see a black governor. We never thought we would see a black president. But we get to see this with our own eyes, something our ancestors lived and died and bled and fought for. So we must realize why we are here, our purpose, and we got to pursue it. And we can't let anything, anybody stop us. And if you fall down, get back up. You only lose if you stop moving. My name's Donnie Glover. And keep striving.